What's up? What's up? It's the Arthur Most Experienced with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
It's good, bro.
Man, you know we had to give the people bonus content, man. Listen, anytime.
Back to back podcast, yeah.
Come on, man. Listen, man. We got to plan ahead. We got vacay coming up, man. Yeah. So it's important that we make sure the content is ready. And that's what this is, ladies and gentlemen. So we felt that it was only right that during this bye week of our content, because we've been going strong this whole process. COVID has not stopped us. We've been on the grind.
Yeah.
We said that, you know what, man, we're going to take a week to ourselves before the season gets going. But, like I said, we're not going to leave y'all hanging. So, from a content standpoint, we got to rank the Steelers'
I can't believe you brought up this topic.
The Steelers' top first-round draft picks. The top 10 first-round draft picks. I said we're going to do the top 10 first-round draft picks, and then we're going to come back and do just the top draft picks all the time.
Well, I was thinking
Steelers draft picks all the time.
Outside of Bus, is that just basically going to be like our all-time players, right?
What you mean?
Well, in terms of...
Oh, in terms of the next list?
Yeah, I think outside of Bettis, I mean, I can't really... Unless you're going to throw Minka in there, but...
I mean, some might.
Top 10 of all time.
Yeah, some might, bro. So, yeah, bro.
Dude, I can't believe you brought this topic up, man.
So I think I'll let you go first, man. I know how you... I cannot wait to hear your list, actually. Let's go. Go ahead, man.
I was deciding between 2 and 3. I still can't really decide.
Is that right? Because we know who your 1 is, right?
I don't know. I surprised you guys with TJ.
We're going to hear this, man. Go ahead and knock us out, man. Let's get it going. Don't be nervous, or do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I went first for the outside linebackers.
So I went first for the outside linebackers.
I'm struggling between 2 and 3 still.
All right, I'll go ahead and drop mine because I already got mine ready to go, man. All right, so
okay.
So I start with my honorable mentions, man, for my top 10 Steelers first round draft picks all the time. I had 3 honorable mentions. It was T.J. Watt, David DeCastro, and Santonio Holmes. Yeah, both of those 3 phenomenal guys. One's a Super Bowl champ, Super Bowl MVP. We talked about T.J. Watt being in the Defensive Player of the Year category conversation, and we know Double D, DeCastro, his career speaks for itself. But for me, man, my top 10 first round picks for the Steelers, at 10, I have Cam Hayward. At 9, I went with Heath Miller. At 8, got Marquise Pouncey, baby. Let's get it. At 7, I got Lynn Swann. And then at 6, I went with Franco Harris. At 5, I got your boy, Big Ben. At 4, Terry Bradshaw. At 3, I got Rod Woodson. At 2, Troy Polamalu. And then at 1, Mean Joe Green. So yeah, man, that's my little 10 piece, baby. Who you got? Let me hear it.
Okay, man. Honorable mention. I figured I'd include that as well.
Yeah.
I got Heath Miller.
Okay.
Put next to that, underrated.
Very
absolutely
underrated, man.
Underrated throughout his career.
Yeah.
I was thinking about putting him in. DeCastro in my honorable mention.
DeCastro's a dog too. Golly, he's a beast, man.
And Cam Hayward is in my honorable mentions as well.
Okay.
Number 10, Marquise Pouncey.
Okay. All right.
Number 9, I gotta have him in there. I think Steelers history would be different without him. Santonio Holmes at number 9.
I can respect that. He's Super Bowl MVP, man.
Wait, I don't know if you had this guy, Faneca.
No, I did not.
You didn't have Faneca?
I did not. No, go ahead, man.
I think there could be a reason. There could be an argument. There definitely could be, because that's why I was actually going to put Holmes over him. But
I actually should have included him in my honorable mention. I didn't even put him. I just, in my mind, I was like, you know, da-da-da-da. But yeah, he's an honorable mention then for me.
For sure. Faneca is at 8. I was like I said, I was thinking about Holmes over Faneca.
Okay.
There's an argument for it. Lynn Swann at 7.
Okay.
Franco Harris at 6.
All
right.
I like how you over here like going through yourself, like, man, should I say this thing?
No, I got it.
Like, you good,
I told you my 2 and my 3 is the one. My 2 and my 3. Franco Harris at 5. No, am I wrong on that?
No. You just gave me Franco at 6. You said Franco was 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm flustered. Rod Woodson at 5. Polamalu at 4.
Oh, wow. All right.
You think that's a snub?
Oh, God. If Polamalu is at 4, I don't even... Yeah. Just go ahead. Continue.
I was really struggling. Because quarterback is the most important position. This one's tough, dude. This one's really tough. I'll go with how I have it listed, though. You could ask me tomorrow, and it could be flipped.
Here we go.
What's so funny?
I just feel like you got something crazy about to happen, bro. I just feel it. Go ahead, man.
Nah, I just got straight facts here. All right, so 3, I got Bradshaw. What's so funny, dude?
Nothing, man. You good, bro. You good.
At 2, me and Joe.
Oh, Lord, have mercy. Oh, Lord.
At number 1,
oh, Lord.
I have the most important draft pick that the Steelers have made.
The most important?
I thought that's what we were doing, like the top draft picks, and I got Big Ben at 1.
Okay.
Do you want to hear why?
Yeah, let me hear this, man. Yeah.
All right, so with Big Ben, what he brings to the table, and we agree, quarterback is the most important position, correct? 17th season is what he's coming up on. So we've had 17 seasons of a franchise quarterback. Have never had to worry about that at all.
Yeah.
It's going to be 20. So let's just say 20 because he's already talking about Super Bowls, plural. So this is going to be basically 20 years with a franchise quarterback. Never a losing record. Always kept us in. We had so many different interchangeable parts throughout our team, offense and defensively. All right, we look at everyone else on this list. You want to look at Bradshaw. We want to look at some of these other 70s guys. Ben hasn't had that type of team around him. He hasn't. You look at Bradshaw and his offense. He had, let's see, do I want to just talk about Joe Green or do I want to talk about Bradshaw?
I'm going to say, because you're going to have to go defense if you saw,
All right, so let's just say Joe Green, because I have Joe Green at 2. So let's just say Ben versus Joe Green.
Okay.
If we wanted to say Ben versus Bradshaw, like in a couple other minutes, we could do that. But for Joe Green, he had, let's see here, he had 4 other Hall of Famers on defense, 2 of them winning Defensive Player of the Year. And then on offense, he had 5 Hall of Famers. Big Ben for the Super Bowl runs with us, we had 1 Hall of Famer on defense, Troy Polamalu. None on offense. And then for Super Bowl 43, again, none on offense, just Troy Polamalu. On defense in Super Bowl 43. You could say James Harris, because here's the thing, there's great players still on both sides outside of the Hall of Fame. Because you could talk about Mike Wagner, some of these other dudes. Hold on, I got them listed here. Mike Wagner, J.T. Thomas, Edwards, Greenwood. You could talk about that with Ben, James Harrison, Lamar Woodley. Some of these other dudes have been really great. But we're talking about Hall of Famers. That's 5 Hall of Famers on offense, 4 Hall of Famers on defense. Dudes that are winning Defensive Player of the Year. Ben hasn't had that, and we talk about quarterback being the most important position on the team. He's given that security, that longevity of 20 years, where Bradshaw, I think he's only had 12 or 13 years to his career, same with Joe Green. So that's why I'm saying Big Ben.
So Bradshaw played shorter, you're saying, right?
He played shorter, yeah.
And he had, 4 Super Bowls?
4 Super Bowls.
Has an MVP season.
But like I said, Hall of Famers and just a better team all around. Like that's those 70 Steelers teams are all-time great teams.
Yeah.
So that's why I got Ben.
But we said the quarterback's the most important part of those teams, though, right? So Bradshaw was still leading those teams with all those players, right? I mean, he has the accolades. He has regular season and postseason accolades.
That's why I was debating between Bradshaw and Green for my number 2 spot. But you have to consider that. And you think all those Hall of Famers on a team? Come on.
And you think that the Ben draft pick was more pivotal to the Steelers organization than the Joe Green draft pick? Joe Green changed the whole face of the organization.
I'm not going to argue that because I think that's a valid point as to why he could be one.
And then even with the Hall of Famers around him, he was still the best player. We knew that.
Dude, you had 2 other players winning Defensive Player of the Year.
No, I understand that. But we talked. I mean, it's no different in terms of when you're looking at a player's impact, right? And we'll say, okay, it's going to be a time. If this group of Steelers defense stays together, it'll be a time where they'll be talking about Minka and debating if he's better than T.J. Watt, even though we know T.J. is the guy on defense, right? It's going to be a time where people are going to have that conversation. It's going to be a time where, hey, if Cam Hayward has another crazy season where it's Cam Hayward more than T.J. Watt, even though we all can agree that, hey, T.J. Watt's the guy. Joe Green is that. It's like, you know Joe Green. So now it's like, oh, well, you know what, man, maybe it was this guy. He's the guy. No. It's that guy. Yeah, that's the guy. We know Joe Green is the guy. Joe Green. When Joe Green is healthy, man, it was nobody out here that could touch Joe Green, man.
Dude, Jack Lambert, Mel Blount, Jack Ham, Donnie Shell just making the Hall. That's an all-time defense.
It is. No, without a doubt it is, man.
I mean, replacing Joe Green, do they still win Super Bowls? with all those Hall of Famers, if we don't have Big Ben, we're not winning Super Bowls. We're not.
Well, I know this. Before Joe Green got there, how many did they win?
And I think you could say the same thing about Terry Bradshaw, where could we win a couple Super Bowls without Terry Bradshaw? Maybe not. But that's
we know for a fact they did, and we know for a fact Bradshaw balled out in these games too. Bradshaw has the hard work, regular season and postseason, to match it. With Ben, we talked about from a hardware standpoint, is lacking there, right? We talked about that. We talked about how even in the Super Bowls, the performances, they haven't got the accolades that you would want. We talked about from a regular season standpoint, he doesn't have any MVPs. We talked about that. We talked about it's multiple factors in there, so I understand that whole case. But for me, I'm like, man, if I'm ranking my guys and I'm saying, hey, man, who had the better career, who was more impactful to this organization, I'm looking at these guys in terms of Bradshaw and in terms of Joe Green and saying, man, they had the longevity, they had the impact, they had the accolades, they had regular season and postseason success, and they did it multiple times. It wasn't they got 2 and that's it, or it was a fluky one, or somebody carried them for one. Like, that wasn't the case for none of it.
I think that it's always going to be the toughest thing about team versus player, impact, all that type of stuff, because you could just say that, I mean, that goes to credit Chuck Noll and those 70 teams. Those were incredible teams with all those Hall of Famers. Like I said, Ben just didn't have that around him. Yeah. He just hasn't his whole career.
Don't say his whole career now. He's had AB for a while.
Outside of him though, like what on defense,
and then we say Hines is a fringe Hall of Famer right now.
Fringe, right? Yeah. But then you could talk about some of those dudes on those 70s teams that Andy Russell, 7-time Pro Bowlers. You got other LC Greenwood, 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro.
From a defensive standpoint, they had a filthy defense.
They got all these Pro Bowlers, all pros. Even the guys that are making the Hall of Fame, like they're up there in that type of stature that you would say with like Hines Ward or James Harrison, French Hall of Famers. And those,
LC Greenwood, you put him in that case.
That's what I mean. You're running 6-7 deep there. That's at that point, whenever we drafted Ben, our team, what was it? Ever since the 70s run, I mean, we had the 80s and 90s of nothing. Early 2000s that we drafted him in 04.
Because O'Donnell, though, he took you to a Super Bowl. You still went, though. You still went. It's not as if it was just desolate. They went. And if he doesn't fall off a cliff in the game and throw them 2 pick sixes, totally different game.
That whole time, though, we needed a quarterback. And I think a lot of teams need a quarterback. That's why it's like kind of the most important position. I don't know where we would be these last 17 years without Ben. Would we have those 2 Super Bowls? Now, that's the whole thing. I don't know the amount of Super Bowls, or if we only win 2 Super Bowls if we didn't have Bradshaw, if we had more of an average quarterback. Because my point is just there's Hall of Famers on that team all around.
Stacked, man, definitely.
But I will say about Bradshaw, dude, he was the leader of that team, and that's why I was thinking, man, do I put him at 2? But at the same time, Joe Green completely changing the franchise around. I think it's a combination of all those dudes we drafted in the early 70s. But Joe Green,
Joe was the guy.
He was the first guy and leader of that defense. You brought up that point. But I'll put him at 2 over Bradshaw, but I definitely think I'm not discrediting anything Bradshaw or Green's doing. I just think having that type of team around you, it's a really great team. Where Ben, he hasn't had that throughout his career, and I just don't know.
He's had talent around him.
He's had talent.
Don't make it like he hasn't had talent. He's had talent,
dude. That's 9 Hall of Famers I just listed right there.
I agree
plus all the All Pros. And the Pro Bowlers from the other dudes, the guys that were running deep on the depth chart.
So essentially what you're doing right here, when you make the case for Ben, it's the opposite argument of what you made for TJ. So when you make this case for Ben in terms of him doing more with less, that's the argument I made with Chandler Jones, right? Doing more with less. But then you said you'd rather still have TJ Watt with the stacked team. Now when it comes to quarterbacks, though, now you're doing the exact opposite of that. You're giving me the Big Ben did more with less, even though Bradshaw has everything across the board in terms of the Super Bowls, in terms of the MVPs, in terms of all the accolades and stuff like that.
I'm not against the accolades either, but I think if you want to make this thing, and I don't want to ram this point home because it's kind of like a ridiculous thing to be comparing eras, but just as them as a player, like Ben, if you could put him in the 70s, he'd be balling out. I don't know if we're saying the same thing with Bradshaw.
There's different eras. I mean, let's think. Back then, these dudes had other jobs they were working. Yeah. Football is year-round here. It's different. Like, you really can't make that debate in terms of trying to compare, can I put this player back then and that player over here? Because, like you said, man,
Ben is hands down the more prolific passer and just more prolific player. Easily.
We talked about how you can take guys that are just good players in this era and put them back there, and they would stand out because it's just what they're able to do from an athletic standpoint. A guy like Tuitt would be a god back then just because of what he's able to do from a size and speed standpoint. Whereas right now, Tuitt doesn't even have a Pro Bowl to his name. So that's the only thing that when you try to make the case about comparing eras, you really can't do that.
I don't want to ram that home. I just think Ben's the better player all around, where he could be going back and forth between eras and balling out no matter what. But with the whole TJ thing, me having him number one over Chandler Jones, I mean, I did factor in kind of like projections too, and I'm not even knocking the point of Jones over TJ because it was something I had him originally.
Yeah.
But I liked TJ's overall stats and I liked the projection of where he's at in his career. I'm just talking like importance of man, like where that
draft. Did not say Bradshaw wasn't important. If Bradshaw isn't there, do they win those 4 Super Bowls?
I got Bradshaw and Joe Green at 2 and 3, so they're obviously important. I just think Ben he's the top guy, man. Just with everything that he's done throughout his career, and like I said, compared to those dudes in the 70s with those teams and all those Hall of Famers that they had around him, Ben's been doing it with interchangeable parts, and like even you could say without his Super Bowl runs, he was having some of the best years of his career in 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, maybe where the defense wasn't as solid where it was with the Super Bowl runs, where Ben was kind of carrying teams our team at times. So that's what I'm thinking with Ben, man. That's what I'm thinking with Ben. And it's, I was having a tough time with this.
For me, I look at it like this, man. When I'm talking about my guys that I'm ranking in terms of impact on the organization, I'm looking at what they did from a statistical standpoint, but then also what they did to bring this team Lombardis. Did they win Lombardis? Did they get MVPs? Were they Defensive Player of the Years? And the guys that I have rated ahead of Ben all have that. That's my biggest thing in terms of why I have Ben at 5 instead of 1, because it's like, man, with Bradshaw, he has the team accolades, the multiple Super Bowls, and he has the individual accolades to go along with it. He's a Hall of Famer. You look at Rod Woodson, he has the team accolades, he has the individual accolades. He's a Hall of Famer. You look at Troy Polamalu. He has the team accolades. He has the individual accolades. He's a Hall of Famer. And Joe Green is the exact same scenario. With Ben, we can make the case that, his impact was felt. Yes. And it's no different. And that's why when we're going to rate just our draft picks as a whole and their impact, it could be different because now you're saying, where was he drafted at compared to another guy? You know what I mean? And stuff like that. But that's my biggest reason why I have Ben at 5 and not higher. Now, if Ben goes out there and gets a Super Bowl this year and an MVP, man, that changes everything. But as it stands right now, I don't think his impact has been the same level as those other guys that I just listed.
I also like I know I said 17 seasons with the Steelers coming up on this year, but I mean, I really do think it's going to be 20 seasons. I think that counts for something of us not ever having to worry about drafting a franchise QB.
I think we'll wait till we get to 20.
No, I understand.
We ain't about to just round it. It's always when we get 20.
Like, you could say the same thing about Bradshaw being there for whatever it was. It was 12 or 13 years. Like, all right, we didn't have to worry about a franchise QB. That's how impactful he was.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my point as to even why I have Bradshaw at 3 and was considering him at 2, having that quarterback for that stretch of time. That's like so valuable to a franchise.
Because I look at it this way, man. 12 years for Bradshaw, 4 Super Bowls. 17 years have been
with the team,
but you bring the Super Bowls up a lot. That's your go. You go to that a lot. You go to that a lot, though.
If you want to talk about Bradshaw or Joe Green, they have 9 Hall of Famers around them.
Okay,
including them, that makes it 10 Hall of Famers overall. Like that's
and they won. They produced. They showed that they were the best team, and they went out there and did it.
Plus, with all these dudes with the Pro Bowls and All Pros sitting deep on not on the depth chart, but in terms of depth of like prolific players, like these are dudes that are 11 to 14 on these teams still making Pro Bowls and All Pros. Like, dude, that's you want to talk about if Bradshaw wasn't there, if Ben wasn't there, if Joe Green wasn't there, did they still win Super Bowl? That's the thing. I think that's more likely the Steelers in the 70s are still getting some Super Bowls. 4. Are they the same dynasty? I don't know, but are they still winning?
I don't think they would be.
Just one player whenever you still have 8 or 9
I think
if
you remove Bradshaw, if you remove Joe Green, I think that impacts them a lot. I don't think they go and do what they did during the 70s, personally.
Well, we're splitting hairs here because I have, that's 1, 2, and 3. You know what I mean? So I'm not completely saying, if they're not there, because, dude, there's something to be said for them being the leader of the offense and the defense. But I see where we're going. Like, we just both have different things that we're thinking about as to why we have our players where they are. So
I feel like with this type of conversation, man, you know how it goes, baby. It's going to always have that, personal preference, things like that. But that's the beauty of a list like this. And that's the beauty of us doing this because it's going to have the people talking about it. They're going to have to decide who they rank and why they rank them in certain ways as well, man.
I did want to say this because I don't know if I said this or if I said it wrong, but Ben's offense in Super Bowl 40, we did have the Bus, who's a Hall of Famer, but he only had 300 yards that year. So that's not the same as saying, he had a Hall of Famer on offense.
Correct.
So yeah, I just wanted to correct that if I said it or not. Yeah. But yeah, that's about it. Where else do we like differ on this list? I mean, I think
honestly, that's the big.
I was gonna say because you understand my reasoning for my top 3 because you have Polamalu at 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you can understand as to why I have those 3 guys ahead of Polamalu.
Not really, but sure.
So I talk about quarterback being the most important position. I think Joe Green, him being that first draft pick and being that leader, that completely switched things around for the defense and just the team overall, the franchise. That's about it. Like, because Polamalu, like if I had to, man, see, this is tough. I was gonna say
was filthy.
If I had to do a Mount Rushmore, Polamalu would be on the Mount Rushmore.
He would be on mine too.
So obviously I do have him at 4. I guess I'd have to knock Bradshaw off.
He would definitely be on mine.
Just because you have 2 quarterbacks on your.
Well, one's a 4-time Super Bowl champ, regular season MVP. Has what? He has 1 or 2 Super Bowl MVPs.
See, we'll get to this later. Actually, that'd be a good thing if we do our top 10 on the next one. We should say like our top who would be like our Mount
Rushmore. Yeah.
Because one of those players would be on my list.
Okay.
I don't know if you're thinking the same players.
I don't know, but then you got to ask your Mount Rushmore. Are you including a coach on there as well?
I think the coach like oversees it. Like, nah, I think you have the coach like taking the Mount Rushmore.
Because my thing, like, how you can have Mount Rushmore and not include like a Chuck Noll or something like that? That's my only thing, man.
That's tough.
Yeah.
We would have a coach Mount Rushmore. That'd be easy. We'd have an extra spot. Actually.
Right. Crazy, man.
A coach included? I don't know, dude.
Oh, we can figure it out though, man.
Okay. It was just an idea. We don't have to do it if you don't want to.
Hey, man, it's always got content, man.
It could be a good post, is what I'm saying.
I agree with you 100%, man.
Hold on. So I wanted to say you don't have Holmes on.
No, I tell you, he was my honorable mention. I understand with Holmes being a Super Bowl MVP. I just think that when I look at the guys that I have on this list in terms of their careers in Pittsburgh,
he only spent 4 years.
Correct. I think that's the knock on him. Whereas with a guy like Cam Hayward, for example, his tenure here, what he's been able to do from just a personal accolade standpoint, the only thing he's missing right now is a Super Bowl ring. If he can get that, that changes a lot in terms of how we view him. He's highly underrated, man, in terms of his consistency, in terms of acting. He has the rings to go with it as well. That's why he makes the list at 9, and that's why I have him ahead of Hayward, just because he has the ring to go along with it.
Yeah, so with Faneca, dude, here's what I was thinking with Faneca, because we got rid of him, and we won a Super Bowl without him the next year. We won a Super Bowl with probably like the worst offensive line, and which is why I was even thinking putting Holmes over Faneca, because Holmes was on that team and all those impact plays in the playoff run, and especially in the Super Bowl. But Faneca with his 9 Pro Bowlers, 6 All Pro,
man,
I wanted to put Holmes over him, but I just couldn't put Holmes is on my list because of the highs, because of the Super Bowl, and like that's something that I'll never forget. And I think if he wasn't there, I don't think we win that Super Bowl. If you're taking that mindset of like, all right, this player wasn't on the Steelers team, is that happening? And with Faneca, he wasn't on that Steelers team for Super Bowl 43. We still won. But we won in Super Bowl 40, and I think he was probably a big reason why the offensive line was really good at that time. Do you have Pouncey on it?
Yeah, I do. I have him at 8.
Okay. I got Pouncey at 10.
Future Hall of Fame.
And then we got everything else similar. Lynn Swann, Franco Harris, Rod Woodson, all in that mix.
Yeah.
Dude, is that all we got? Is that all we got?
I think that was the biggest thing, man. Yeah, I think that was smooth though, bro. A smooth little nice little. However long this piece is, 20 piece.
I'm sure people have their opinions on our.
But that's what we want, though.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting what people think.
Our job is to present the content. We'll talk about it a little bit, but other than that, man, give the people something to really just chew on, debate on, and stuff like that. I think it makes it more fun. So that's that, man. But yeah, this was a good little, like I said, a little vacation week special, man. So I hope everyone enjoyed it. You know,
we appreciate it.
Shout out to the subscribers, the listeners, everybody, man.
Absolutely. Until next time.
Peace.